Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for standing by for Ruhnn Holding Limited's earnings conference call for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Today's conference call is being recorded. I will now turn the call over to your host, Mr. Sterling Fong, Senior IR Director of Ruhnn. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ruhnn's earnings conference call for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021, ended September 30, 2020. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. The company's financial and operating results were issued in a press release earlier today and are available online. You can download the earnings press release and sign up for the company's email distribution list by visiting the IR section of the company's website at ir.ruhn.com. Ms. Lei Sun, our founder, director, and CEO, and Ms. Jackie Wang, our CFO, will begin with some prepared remarks. Following the prepared remarks, Ms. Min Feng, our founder, chairman of the board of directors, will also join us for the Q&A session. Before we continue, please know that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under the safe harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's actual results may be materially different from the views expressed today. Further information regarding this and other risks and uncertainties is included in certain filings of the company with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, including its annual report on Form 20-F. The company doesn't assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements except as required by law. Please also know that the company's earnings press release and this conference call include discussions of unaudited GAAP financial information as well as unaudited non-GAAP financial measures. The company's press release contains a reconciliation of the unaudited non-GAAP measures to the unaudited most directly comparable GAAP measures. I'll now turn the call over to Ruhnn's founder, director, and CEO, Ms. Lei Sun. Ms. Sun, please go ahead.
Thank you, Sterling. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our earnings conference call for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021. In the second quarter of fiscal year 2021, following the business transition, our service segment under the platform model maintained strong growth momentum from the previous quarter, fueled by significant organic growth and demonstrating solid profitability. Services revenue increased 84% year-over-year, continuing its rapid and consistent growth for the sixth consecutive quarter following our IPO in April 2019. Our platform model continues to play an increasingly important role as services revenue in the second fiscal quarter contributed approximately 48% of total revenue, doubling the contribution from the same period last year and higher than 41% in the previous fiscal quarter. Income from operations for the service segment reached 12 million, with operating margin over 10%. Looking ahead to the second half of fiscal year 2021, we are focused on strengthening Ruhnn's competitive advantages. With the rapid development of our platform model, additional resources being deployed towards the platform, continued rollout of our growth strategy, further diversification of our business, and finally, improvements in operating efficiency and profitability. We are very confident that we can make that competitive leap. During the second fiscal quarter, we further grew and expanded our QL pool. As of September 30, 2020, the total number of QLs signed by Ruhn through long-term agreements grew 23% year-over-year to 180, while the aggregate number of fans grew 56% year-over-year to over 295 million. Our signed QLs have been further diversified across major social media platforms in China, such as Xiaohongshu, Kuaishou, Bilibili, Douyin, and Weibo. with the number of signed QLs on each of Weibo, Xiaohongshu, Bilibili, and Douyin all reaching or exceeding 100. Based on the service revenue generated since September 30, 2019, our top-tier QLs increased from 5 to 8, established QLs from 21 to 24, and emerging QLs from 12 to 21. Services revenue generated by our 8 top-tier QLs accounted for only 28% of total service revenue, and there was no one single QL contributing over 10%, creating minimum concentration risk and a much more balanced contribution from different tiers of QLs. The total number of established and emerging QLs increased by 73% year-over-year to 45, contributing 47% of total service revenue in the current fiscal quarter. We are very pleased to see that our QL metrics has become healthier and more balanced. As a leading platform in the QL industry in China, Ruhnn once again demonstrated its deep attraction among high-quality QLs and strong QL incubation and professional cultivation capabilities. Both the new retail industry and the e-commerce live streaming industries have experienced explosive growth in 2020, fueled by the development of the QL economy. Facing the increasing demand for high-quality QLs, Ruhnn has been heavily investing in its particular area and accumulated huge amounts of industry know-how and capabilities. We started restructuring our business as early as 2018, leveraging our extensive experience in QL incubation, as well as our ability to decipher evolving market trends early, and transited gradually from product sales under the full service model to QL service and advertising provided to third-party merchants and brands. Through the business model transition and upgrade from operating QL business to building up the whole QL ecosystem, today's Ruhnn is maintaining flexible and dynamic business models in order to respond to evolving market demands and industry changes. Riding on this wave, our business focus is transiting to the platform model, and our overall business structure is becoming more asset-light with a lighter supply chain, so as to better improve our margins and anti-risk capabilities. In addition, the platform model is also rapidly enhancing Ruhn's market influence and attracting more high-quality and diverse QLs, which has further expanded our product categories, strengthened our service capabilities in different categories, improved our leverage when negotiating with our merchants, and opened up rich and flexible monetization channels for our QLs to better support their success as well as our own. At present, under our platform model, we provide advertising services, e-commerce live streaming, and sales services through online sharing stores and joint stores for the third-party brands and merchants. At the same time, we continue to expand our product coverage categories. In particular, e-commerce live streaming and advertising services are considered as the main drivers to support our sustained growth in this fiscal year. First, e-commerce live streaming has become an important growth engine for our platform model, and its strong reputation in the industry has helped Ruhnn establish a unique position in this area. It has maintained strong growth momentum from the previous fiscal quarter, generating 26% of total service revenue, compared to 2% in the same period of last fiscal year. Leveraging our high quality and further diversified QL metrics, we strive to offer third-party brands and merchants a strategy that combines both quality and efficiency, ensuring product sales volume while establishing a good brand image and lessening the impact from lower price promotions during e-commerce live streaming. Recently, we are working with the Administration for Market Regulation of Zhejiang Province to launch RUHN live streaming in China to promote the strict selection of quality products and operation on the regulated industry standards. In addition, the product categories we covered for e-commerce live streaming have extended even further beyond just color cosmetics, skincare products, and apparel, with food and beverage, home care, FMCG, and fashionable electric products now being added to the roster. And in a very short period of time, our QLs have delivered outstanding performance in e-commerce live streaming on platforms such as Taobao, Kuaishou, Douyin, Xiaohongshu, and to name a few. Among them, the revenue generated through Kuaishou has exceeded 20% of total e-commerce live streaming revenue, demonstrating the flexibility and the variety in our monetization channels. We look forward to growing with even more QLs in the future. Besides, turning to our advertising services, it contributed approximately 51% of total service revenue. As of September 30, 2020, we had partnered with a total of 1,423 brands in our advertising services, representing 68% growth from 845 brands as of September 30, 2019, and 20% growth from 1,186 brands in the last fiscal quarter. More significantly, the recurring brands accounted for over 50% of the total number of brands we served in the current fiscal quarter. Our source of revenue is further decentralized, with the top 5 brands accounting for only about 17% of total advertising revenue, further safeguarding us from concentration risk. Our advertising service have now covered almost all major social media platforms, including Weibo, Xiaohongshu, Bilibili, and Douyin. In particular, the revenue generated through Xiaohongshu accounted for nearly 20% of total advertising service revenue, with a steady pace of growth. Going forward, we will continue enhancing our competitive advantages, growing the advertising business, and empowering more brands, both domestically and globally. As far as sales services, online sharing stores on Taobao and joint stores contributed approximately 20% of total service revenue in the second fiscal quarter. Moving to our BK plan, we launched this program in this July to act as a significant supplement to our core incubated QLs. As of now, we have signed long-term agreements with 9 QLs who have a large number of followers and strong influencing power on major social media platforms. Drawing on our extensive experience in QL incubation, in-depth knowledge of best practice across the industry, the diverse monetization channels consisting of e-commerce live streaming, advertising campaigns, and online sharing stores, we aim to have QLs produce enriched professional content in combination with their distinct personality and unique position in the market, so as to enable them to build a long-term personal value. The current outcome of our BK plan has already aligned with our expectations. Within Ruhnn, we have also actively been working on various new business initiatives and have stepped up our efforts to develop data-driven technologies. We have created a series of technologies and products such as AI-enabled selection system, AI Tuiguang and AI Zhongcao, etc., dedicating ourselves to becoming the cooperation platform for emerging fashion brands and the best partner in China's new retail industry. Our AI-enabled selection system for women's apparel products have served an accumulated number of approximately 100 third-party merchants and brands since its inception. As of September 30, 2020, We had a technology team with more than 40 engineers. With the help of our cutting-edge AI technologies, our QR technology platform, RUHN, has digitalized the entire matching process between third-party brands and merchants with appropriate QRs, so as to meet the growing demand of e-commerce industry in a more efficient and convenient way. As for our KOC community technology platform, RUHN, key opinion consumers are playing an increasingly important role in many consumers' purchasing behavior and decision-making process. They test and review products and share their opinions and comments on social media platforms, leading third-party brands and merchants to a broader population, ultimately creating a much more profound impact among consumers. So far, over 10,000 QACs have registered on our QC community platform, and that number is expected to double by next year. In China's MCN industry, RUHN is one of the few cross-social media platforms which is capable of operating images, short videos, and live streaming. With the capability of incubating new QLs and empowering third-party QLs, we provide a one-stop solution for brands, from advertising to sales services, and across all major social media platforms, from Weibo to Bilibili, Xiaohongshu, Douyin, and Kuaishou. In the era of traffic fragmentation, an integrated marketing strategy has become crucial. Take live streaming as an example. Using preview to stimulate purchasing before live streaming begins. QL recommendation and transaction execution during live streaming benefit from a protracted long-tail effect even after live streaming has completed, with the whole entire process enriching all monetization channels. All in all, our diversified and cross-platform capabilities drive significant growth in both number of brands we cooperate with and our service revenue, improving matching efficiency while reducing transaction costs. Finally, I want to shift gears briefly and discuss our share repurchase program. By the end of November 2020, approximately 2.34 million ADS were repurchased for an aggregate consideration of approximately $6.8 million. We expect to continue to implement our share repurchase program subject to the restrictions relating to volume, price, and timing on the applicable law. With that, I will now turn the call over to Mr. Jackie Ruhnn, CFO of the company, who will provide an update on our financial performance for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Sun, and hello, everyone. In the second quarter of fiscal year 2021, we further grew our platform model with services revenue growing 84% year-over-year, demonstrating a well-executed quarter. Services revenue as a percentage of total net revenue further increased to 48% from 41% in the previous fiscal quarter and 24% in the same quarter of last fiscal year. Moreover, we also further narrowed our net loss attributable to RUHN by 38% year-over-year. The good performance in our platform model enables our continued investment in this segment, and underpins our future growth and will ultimately deliver strong profitability. Now let's move to detailed financial performance for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021. Total net revenue was RMB 248.5 million, a decrease of RMB 24.2 million, or 9% from RMB 272.7 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year, which was mainly due to the decline in product sales revenue through the full sales model, partially offset by the significant increase in services revenue through the platform model. Services revenue through the platform model was RMB 119.3 million, an increase of RMB 54.5 million, or 84% from RMB 64.8 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year. The increase was mainly attributable to, first, the increase in the number of KOLs serving the company's platform model, which increased to 180 as of September 30, 2020, from 146 as of September 30, 2019. Second, the improved performance of such KOLs, as evidenced by the increase in the aggregate number of the top-tier, established, and emerging KOLs to 53 as of September 30, 2020, from 31 as of September 30, 2019. And finally, an increase in the number of brands that the company cooperated with in its advertising business to 520 in the second quarter of fiscal year 2021 from 308 for the same quarter of last fiscal year. Product sales revenue through the full sales model was RMB 129.2 million, a decrease of RMB 78.7 million, or 38% from RMB 207.9 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year. The decrease was primarily attributable to the following factors. First, the transition of the business model of some online stores from the full sales model to the platform model, as a result of which the number of the company's online stores decreased to 17 as of September 30, 2020, from 23 as of September 30, 2019, while the number of the company's KOLs serving the full sales model decreased to 3 as of September 30, 2020, from 7 as of September 30, 2019. Second, a significant decrease in product sales generated from the online stores under the name of a top KOL, who suffered from negative publicity since April 2020. Cost of revenue was RMB 147.7 million, a decrease of RMB 6 million or 4% from RMB 153.7 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year, which was mainly in line with the decline in total net revenue, specifically the product sales revenue. Cost of product sales decreased by RMB 44.3 million or 35% year-over-year to RMB 83.4 million. Cost of revenue primarily included the product's cost, inventory write-downs, and KOL service fees. Gross profit was RMB 100.8 million, a decrease of RMB 18.2 million, or 15% from RMB 119 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year, primarily as a result of the decline in product sales revenue. Gross margin was 41% compared to 44% for the same quarter of last fiscal year. Total operating expenses was RMB 113.6 million, a decrease of RMB 49.4 million, or 27% from RMB 184 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year. Total operating expenses accounted for 54% and 67% of total net revenue for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021 and 2020 respectively. Fulfillment expenses were RMB 16.9 million, a decrease of RMB 18.3 million, or 52% from RMB 35.2 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year. The decrease was largely in line with the decrease in product sales revenue. fulfillment expenses accounted for 13% and 17% of product sales revenue for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021-2020, respectively. Sales and marketing expenses were RMB 82.3 million, an increase of RMB 7.3 million, or 10% from RMB 75 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year. Sales and marketing expenses consist primarily of expenses for KOL incubation, cultivation, and training for the company's platform KOLs, as well as expenses incurred for the company's advertising, marketing, and brand promotion activities and the full service model. Following the expansion of KOL pool from 146 signed KOLs as of September 30, 2019 to 180 as of September 30, 2020. Related expenses incurred for KOL incubation, cultivation, and training in order to support increased activities for the company's KOLs, sales, and advertising business. Sales and marketing expenses accounted for 33% and 28% of total net revenue for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021 and 2020, respectively. And the increase in the current quarter was primarily attributable to the decline in product sales revenue. For product sales segment, the percentage of sales and marketing expenses as compared to product sales revenue was 37% in the current quarter. General and administrative expenses were RMB 33.8 million, a decrease of RMB 34.6 million, or 51% from RMB 68.4 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year. General and administrative expenses accounted for 14% and 25% of total net revenue for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021 and 2020, respectively. Excluding non-cash share-based compensation expense and litigation costs, the percentage was 11% and 11% for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021 and 2020, respectively. Amortization of exclusive corporation rights represented the amortization of intangible assets in relation to exclusive corporation rights granted by a top KOL. Net loss attributable to Ruhnn was RMB 31.2 million compared to RMB 50.1 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year, narrowed by 38%. Adjusted net loss attributable to Ruhnn was RMB 20.2 million compared to an income of RMB 2.5 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year. The loss in the current quarter was primarily attributable to the loss incurred by product sales segment, with adjusted loss from operations of product sales of RMB 27.6 million. In terms of balance sheet and cash flow, as of September 30, 2020, the company had cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash and short-term investment of RMB 714.5 million compared to RMB 800.6 million as of March 31, 2020. Net cash used in operating activities was RMB 46.4 million for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021, compared to net cash provided by operating activities of RMB 7.2 million for the same quarter of last fiscal year. Net cash used in operating activities was primarily a result of, first, loss from operations from our product sales segment of RMB 31 million, following the decline in product sales revenue in the current quarter. And the second, a net increase of RMB 17.4 million, in advances to suppliers, primarily certain strategic social media platforms. Before moving to outlook, I would like to spend a few minutes to discuss further our segment performance. During the current quarter, for the services segment, services revenue accounted for 48% of total net revenue, and we achieved income from operations of 12 million, which was equal to services revenue minus related cost of revenue and all operating expenses like sales and marketing, general and administrative expenses. Adjusted income from operations of services was RMB 14.9 million. Product sales segment suffered a loss in the current quarter, and adjusted loss from operations of product sales segment was RMB 27.6 million. With respect to our outlook, we are reiterating that for the full fiscal year 2021, we currently expect our net revenue from services revenue through the platform model to be between RMB 520 million and RMB 610 million, representing a year-over-year growth of between 72% and 101%. This forecast reflects our current and preliminary view on the current business situation and the market conditions, which are all subject to change. We do not provide the outlook for our product sales revenue for the full fiscal year 2021, primarily because of the uncertainty in the continuing impacts of negative publicity of a top KOL serving certain online stores and the full service model, as discussed previously. This concludes our prepared remarks. We will now open the call for Q&A. Operator, please go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you wish to ask a question, please press star one on your telephone and wait for your name to be announced. If you wish to cancel your request, please press the pound or hash key. For the benefit of all participants on today's call, if you wish to ask your question to the company's management in Chinese, please immediately repeat your question in English. Once again, to ask a question, it's star and the number one on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from the line of Vicky Wei of Citi. Please ask your question.
Good evening, management. Thanks for taking my question. My question is about the Singles' Day performance and e-commerce live streaming. So would management provide some color about the Taobao store's performance during the Singles' Day shopping festival? And for live streaming e-commerce, does management notice any new trend in this year's Singles' Day, let's say in terms of competition, user behavior as compared to last year? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. This is Jackie. Let me take your question. Overall, talking about the Double 11 event, our performance was in line with our expectation, and total service revenue is expected to be over 70% year-over-year increase. While we were talking about the online stores, our own online stores, and under the full service model, we continue to feel pressure on that. And if you look at the product sales revenue, we believe will be expected to decrease as compared to prior year. Talk about the difference or changes in trend in the e-commerce live streaming in the current year as compared to prior. I might want to focus on the live streaming under our platform model. Several points to share. First one, we could feel, during the current year, consumers or customers are more used to live streaming. In the prior, for example, in prior, maybe a lot of consumers maybe it's their first time, to utilize the live streaming to buy products. So they might actually compare the price of the products bought through the live streaming as compared to other channels. They compare the price. But in the current year, they got the idea, yes, the products bought from the live streaming will be much cheaper. So that's they are kind of used to the live streaming. They feel comfortable to buy products through live streaming. And second, there are multiple platforms in the live streaming. Take Ruhnn as an example. Live streaming from other platforms, in addition to the major one, the Taobao platform, are increasing, including, Kuaishou, Douyin, and Xiaohongshu. They are all increasing, they are focusing on doing the e-commerce live streaming. Third, I will see the categories of the brand are expanded, from women apparel to cosmetics, shoes, handbags, fast-moving consumer products, food, electric appliances. And the new domestic brands and new brands are playing a more and more important role. And fourth, I want to mention that we feel the brands, are more rational in dealing with the live streaming. In prior, they might think, okay, that's the first time to do that. They don't really care profit. But in current year, they are switching their focus on a strategy that combine both quality and efficiency. It means, they care about the product sales volume, but meanwhile, they also care about to establish a good brand image, while mitigate the impact from lower price promotion during the e-commerce live streaming. Okay, I think that's some points I want to share. Hope I answered your question. Thank you.
Very comprehensive, and thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Ruhnn of UBS. Please ask your question.
管理层你们好，感谢接受我的提问。我有2个问题啊。第一个，我想问一下，就接下来1-2个季度公司直播这边收入占比的目标，而且就是能不能分享一下，为了实现这个目标，主要会依赖于哪些驱动因素？然后第2个问题呢是关于行业，就想了解一下管理层如何看待直播带货这个对 MCN 然后平台方还有商家的一个盈利前景，然后未来这个行业会达到一个什么样平衡的状态？I will translate myself. My first question is about for next 1 or 2 quarters, how is your target of e-commerce live streaming revenue share? And could you elaborate more about the assumptions and the key drivers behind? Second is about industry. Could you management give more color on e-commerce live streaming industry's dynamics, like the relationship among MCN platforms and merchants? Well, all of them will be profitable in the long run. And how should we think about the change of their bargaining powers? Thanks.
由我来我是冯敏，由我来回答一下这个问题吧。接下来1-2个季度，我们预计直播收入的占比会持续的上升，会占我们这个服务类收入的30%左右。那实现这个目标呢，主要靠以下的几点驱动原因。第一呢，我们继续搭建我们的直播红人矩阵，而不是依赖于单一某个红人。第二呢，我们坚持多平台的发展，除了淘宝直播以外，我们在快手、抖音以及小红书等平台都将扮演越来越重要的这个角色。第三呢，我们会进一步完善我们的商务团队，拓展更多的直播服务品类。
Thank you for your question, and Fengmin, let me answer your questions. We anticipate that the percentage from e-commerce live streaming will continue to to increase, and in the next 1 to 2 quarters, that percentage will be around 30% as compared to the total service revenue. In order to realize this target, it may depend on the following few factors. First, we will continue to build our KOL pool, which is to be engaged in the live streaming instead of only relying on single top KOL. And second, we'll continue to insist on multiple platforms. In addition to Taobao, other platforms like Kuaishou, Douyin, or Xiaohongshu, they all play a more important role in e-commerce live streaming. And lastly, we'll further strengthen our BD team, and that means we'll continue to expand into third-party brands and merchants, have more cooperation with other merchants, and we'll continue to expand into other categories. Thank you.
回答一下第二个问题啊，就从行业整体来说，确实部分品牌或者商家在电商平台开展直播带货业务时需要付出的成本较高，包括并不限于坑位费、广告费、技术服务费和给到红人的这些佣金，同时又会有很多的这个商品销售时候的折扣。
From the perspective of the whole e-commerce live streaming industry, it is true that some third-party merchants and brands have to pay relatively high costs when carrying out live streaming business on e-commerce platforms, including but not limited to entrance fees, advertising fees, technology service fees, or KOL service fees, etc. Meanwhile, merchants have to give very large discounts on product sales.
对如涵而言呢，电商直播带货业务已经是公司平台业务迅速崛起的重要利器。该业务在我们这个财年的第二季度延续了上一季度快速扩张的态势。电商直播带来的收入占我们平台总收入的比例从去年同期的 2% 提高了 26%。但我们也看到，由于直播带货业务中公司给予红人的分成比例会较其他业态较高，所以预计随着直播带货业务在平台业务中比例的不断提升，我们的毛利水平会有小幅的影响。
As for Ruhan, e-commerce live streaming has become an important growth engine for our platform model. It has maintained strong growth momentum from the previous physical quarter, generating 26% of total services revenue compared to only 2% in the same period of last physical year. While the company gives a higher proportion of commission to KOL other than other monetization channels, and the contribution of the services revenue generated through live streaming is further increasing, our gross margin will be in some way, slightly affected in the future.
如涵在电商带货品类上面也会有大幅的拓展。除了彩妆、护肤品和服装这些主要的消费品，我们还会拓展至饮料、食品、家居洗护、快消品以及慈善电子产品。在很短的时间内，我们在淘宝直播、快手、抖音和小红书的平台带货直播中都取得了亮眼的成绩。其中快手平台带来的直播收入已超过直播带货总收入的 20%， 这也体现出如涵平台变化渠道的多样性和灵活性。如涵更加期待未来能与更多的红人共同成长。
In addition, the product categories we covered for e-commerce live streaming have expanded even further beyond just color cosmetics, skincare products and apparel, with food and beverage, home care, fast-moving consumer products, and fashionable electronic products now being added to the roster. And in a very short period of time, our KOLs have delivered outstanding performance in e-commerce live streaming on platforms such as Taobao, Kuaishou, Douyin, Xiaohongshu, etc., and to name a few. Among them, the revenue generated through Kuaishou has exceeded 20% of total e-commerce live streaming revenue, demonstrating the flexibility and variety in our monetization channels. We look forward to growing with even more KOLs in the future. Thank you. Operator, can we move on?
Your next question comes from the line of Ling Yi Zhao of SWS. Please ask your question.
Hi, management team. This is Ling Yi from SWS Research. The live streaming industry has experienced a period of rapid growth and has occurred problems such as data exaggeration. And recently, the regulatory authorities have also criticized some KOLs by name. And my question is, as one of the most important players in the industry, how do you view the industry in the future and the impact of corresponding regulations on us? 我重复一下我的问题。各位同好，我是申万宏源的赵令一。直播带货行业经历了一段时间的高速增长期，那目前也发现了一些阶段性的问题，比如说数据的夸大等等。那么近期监管部门也点名批评了一些 KOL。那么我们作为行业中最重要的玩家之一，是如何看待行业未来规范化运转的，以及相应法规出台对于我们的影响？谢谢。
你好，谢谢您的提问，我是冯敏，我来回答一下这个问题。在直播的选品方向，我们始终坚持把最好的产品分享给消费者，把更好的服务带给更多的消费者。所以在选品上，我们有接近100人的招商选品团队，在前端为主播把好第一道关，坚决拒绝商务产品进入红人选品池。进入直播间的产品需要商标注册证明、品牌特许经营证明和品牌销售授权证明等文件。经过前期的严格筛选，红人们还会进行第二次的选品，亲自对产品试吃试用，严格把控直播间内产品的使用效果和质量。同时，我们的直播间还专门配备了专业的客服团队，帮助消费者和商家进行沟通，督促商家给出解决方案。
Thank you for your question. And for me, let me answer your question. For product selection process, RUHN is committed to bringing the best products and the best services to our consumers. We have a selection team of nearly 100 persons, and we refuse any product in low quality without certificates or documents to enter into the KOL product pool. All the products must provide trademark certificate, registration certificate, brand merchandise certificate, as well as the sales authorization certificate, etc. After very strict screening in the early stage, our KOLs will conduct product selection again by themselves. They will personally try out the products, give very strict supervise and control the quality. We also have a professional customer service team helping to coordinate between consumers and the merchants, and urge merchants to provide solutions to consumers.
直播在直播间的一言一行都会影响粉丝，同时会从专业性、价值观、长远性、抗压性等方面挑选主播。我们的主播上岗前，我们都会进行充分的培训，要求主播在直播间内立足自身，规范言行，坚持4项基本原则，坚持社会主义核心价值观，遵守社会公德，携手行动传递正能量，做到政治意识和业务的双提高。
RUHN will evaluate and select our KOLs from the aspects of their professionalism, personal value, stress, tolerance, etc. We also provide our KOLs with all necessary training and require them to follow all relevant laws and regulations from the government or administration and ask them to abide by the normal social order and deliver more positive energy to our society.
就在最近，如涵在浙江当地政府的指引下，联合直播头部企业全国首推绿色直播间，打造绿色直播间的样板间，遵纪守法，规范经营，传播正能量。我们积极支持和拥护政府出台的各项规范电商直播行业的法律法规，拥抱监管，从自身做起，共同促进整个电商直播行业健康有序的发展。
Just recently, we are working with the administration for market regulation of Zhejiang province to launch the green live streaming in China to promote the strict selection of quality products and operation under regulated industry standards. We actively support all the relevant laws and regulations in the e-commerce live streaming sector from the administration. And we'll cooperate with other large players in the sector for healthy and orderly development of the e-commerce live streaming industry. Thank you. Operator?
As there are no further questions, now I'd like to turn the call back over to the company for closing remarks.
Thank you, operator. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact the company's investor relations department through the contact information provided on our website or our IR from TPG Investor Relations. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, operator. Thank you. Bye.
This concludes this conference call.